How you going, guys? Curtis from Cutting Edge Engineering. So today is the start of a very exciting upgrade for our business and our workshop. And what's happening is we're getting a new overhead gantry crane installed. So as you guys know, we only have a little crane system over the top of the machining area. It is 6.5 meters deep by 9 meters long. That only covers about 60 square meters, and it is only a 1-ton chain hoist. So even though that little crane has been fantastic, it does have its limitations on its weight capacity and where it reaches in the workshop. So it has been extremely time consuming to get jobs set up and move them around. So it was about 5 years ago where I started to look at options to upgrade our crane system, but they are not cheap. It is a pretty significant investment for any business. So I did have to put that on the back burner for a while until we got all of our finance sorted. So it was a couple of months ago we decided we were finally ready to go ahead with the overhead crane, and I was looking on an online website called Machines for You, and I did stumble across a crane beam that had newly been refurbished, and it was gonna fit in this workshop perfectly. Not only that, the company Austwide Cranes that was selling it were 5 minutes up the road, so I gave the owner Luke a call, went up there, did an inspection on the crane, and I was very happy with it. So the next thing, one of their technicians came down and did a complete measure up of our workshop, worked out exactly what I wanted, how far I wanted the crane to reach, and then the quoting process began. And when we got the quote, the price was very competitive and the lead time was very fast compared to anybody else, so we paid the deposit and we got this upgrade underway. So today is the day the install process begins. I've already gone ahead and removed the crane over the top of the machining area. I also had to remove a cable that spanned from one side of the workshop to the other, and it carried air and electricity through the middle of the building. We've also removed all of the pallet racking running through the middle of the workshop because we needed that extra meter for the structure. I've also had to do some shuffling in the workshop, moving some machinery so we have enough access so the structure can be installed, and we've also notified all of our customers that we'll be closed for about a week. So we are as ready as we can be to get this underway. So the guys from Austwide Cranes have arrived, and the first thing they're going to be doing is marking out the locations for the base plates of the columns. They already have a plan of what the crane structure is going to be, so the first thing they're going to do is get their offset from the edge of the workshop. Once they've marked that offset, they can then use lasers to then pinpoint the locations of the other 9 columns. So after they've marked all their locations, they will go back with a laser and a big tape measure to make sure everything is running parallel and is dead square. Because if it's not, the crane will bind when you move it up and down the runway. Now with everything accurately marked out, they're going to drill the bolt holes. So each column is held down by 6 tie-down bolts, and what they're using to install them is Chemset, which is a chemical adhesive used to fix studs into concrete. Once they got all that done, they then went through and measured all of the jacking nuts so they're at the same height. That way, when the columns get installed, they have a level starting position. And once all that was done, then the structure arrived. So what they're unloading first are the runway sections. There are 4 pieces at 12 metres long, and they will be joined in the middle to make 2 runways 24 metres long. So on top of each runway section there is a bit of PFC or parallel flange channel that is welded on top of the I-beam, and that stops the runway structure from moving or flexing. And on top of that is the track, which is a piece of 25 by 50mm flat bar. And what that is there for is for the wheels on the end carriages to sit over so the crane runs parallel. And we've also got all of the columns. There are 10 in total, 5 for each side, and they are 3.9 metres tall. And to install the columns, they're going to be using a jib on the end of our forklift. Because we are a functioning workshop and our landlord has a lot of stuff in storage, there are a few access issues. So the forklift was the easiest option to install the columns in the middle of the workshop. So as the columns are being installed onto the tie-down bolts, they're putting the nuts on them and securing them in position. This was a pretty quick part of the process. It only took about half an hour to stand all 5 of those columns. So with that side done, they then began installing the columns on the other side. The first 3 columns were pretty easy to install because we were able to use the forklift, but the back 2 columns were going to be a little bit more of an issue because there were machinery in the way. We weren't able to access them with the forklift, so I decided to do the install of those 2 columns using the yard crane. Righto guys, so that is all of our columns installed. That went a lot quicker and smoothly than we all thought it would, but that now means we are about a day ahead of schedule. So to keep that progress going, rather than wait till tomorrow for a Franna crane to come in and put up the runway structures, we've all agreed that I'm going to be responsible for installing them today. Righto guys, so that is all of the columns and the runway installed. We've made some great progress, but there is still a lot to do, so stay tuned for tomorrow.
Breezy, go find him. Go find him.
What's he doing? What are you doing?
See what he gets.
Drop it. Sit. Stay. Hut. Good listener. Drop it. Homeless. Drop it. Hey. He's dead. He's dead. Killed it.
All right.
So it's the start of day 2 and the guys are here bright and early and they're getting started with putting the corner bracing in the runway structure, and that's to add extra support to stop the crane structure from racking front to back or side to side. They've also fitted and bolted the support plate to the center of the runway to hold them together. So now what they're going to do is very critical. They are going to get both of the runway structures running in alignment with each other and make sure they are parallel. So they're going to go through and level up all of the columns. To do that, they're going to be using a laser to take a measurement from one track to the other, and then they will adjust the tie down bolts to bring that column in or out to bring the tracks into alignment. And they will do that at every column to make sure the structure is parallel. Once they've got the measurement spot on, they go through and lock down all of the tie down bolts, locking everything in position. Something else they also have to do is fit and weld on the end stops at the end of the runways, and that is a fail safe, so if the crane runs past its end limit, the crane doesn't fall off the structure. Or in our case, it doesn't run into the concrete wall or into the building. And while they're welding, they're also fitting the brackets to the top of the runway, and those brackets are used to run the bus bars, and the bus bars are what carries power to the crane. So we have 4 bus bars up there. The 3 orange ones supply power and the green one is an earth. And what they're made from is a steel channel with a plastic insulation. And while the guys are installing the bus bars, I'm going to try and get a customer job completed. All I can really do is a little bit of line boring, so I'll get this one done. So with all of that done, there are a few things they need to do in order to complete the structure. One of those things is to do some paint touch up from where it's been transported or it's been scratched during installation. Unfortunately, the paint color isn't an exact match, so they have stopped until they can get the correct paint from their workshop. So now they're getting on to grouting underneath the base plates of the columns and around the bolts. And for that, they're going to be using a high strength, non-shrink cement based mortar, and that's to give a high strength, long lasting foundation. And out of the entire build of putting up the whole structure, the grouting definitely took the longest. And the layout of the columns has been done in a specific way. They have been kept about 1.5 meters from the front of the workshop. That is to give clearance for the emergency exit, and the other columns have been laid out in such a way that they are sitting on top of a concrete thickening beam. Those are there from the original structure of the building and are the strongest part of the foundation. And their electrician is also here. What he's going to be doing is running a 32 amp lead from where the master switch of the crane is going to be mounted through the workshop out to our main power box. And once the crane beam has been installed, he can then wire it up. Righto guys, so we are at the end of day 2. We have had a lot of great progress and we are well ahead of schedule. The boys do have a few little things to finish off, like cleaning up around the grouted areas, doing a few paint touch-ups and a bit more electrical. But the main structure is completed and we are ready for the overhead crane, which will be delivered tomorrow. Righto guys, so our new crane has arrived. What it is 17.7 meters long and it has a 6.3 tonne lifting capacity. And as you can see, they have painted it in our workshop blue and put our logo on it, and it looks awesome. So doing the lift today are the guys from Mighty Cranes. What they are using is a Terex AT-20 Franna. Unfortunately, we couldn't use our Franna for obvious reasons, and the yard crane probably has the capacity, but we all decided it was going to be a much safer option if we brought in a Franna and the professionals. So first thing they're going to do is get it unchained. They're going to get everything rigged up, attach the Franna to it, and then they're going to lift it into the workshop. So installing the crane was actually a very quick process in the whole installation. It only took a matter of minutes to get it into the workshop and then up into position. To help with that, they had technicians on either side of the runway structure on scissor lifts, and that was to help guide the crane into place. They also had the dogman with the tagline directing the crane beam into position. Once they got it centered, they carefully lowered it down so the drive wheels met up with the tracks. So that's our overhead crane installed, but the process isn't quite finished. Now the electrician can complete the wiring process. What he has to do is put up the current collectors into the bus bars, and that way he can supply power to the crane. Once that's done, they can turn on the main isolator for the crane and check there's power getting everywhere and make sure every motion functions correctly. Now the technician is going to complete the commissioning process of the crane. He's going to go through and set all of the end limits on the hoist so you don't run it into the runway structure. Then he's going to set the end limits on the runways so the crane doesn't run into the building or go out the back of the shed. He's also going to set the drop height on the hoist. That hoist is actually good for a 6 metre lift. We don't need that because our beam is only 4.3 metres off the ground. They've also fitted a load display to the hoist to show the weight of the load being lifted.
What's this? What's this? Yeah, look in there. What?
Righto guys, so that is our overhead crane 100% commissioned and ready for work. So overall, the length of the runway structure is 24 metres and it spans 17.7. So that is 400 square metres of area the crane now covers, where beforehand, the little crane we had in the machining area only covered 59 square metres. So this is a really great upgrade and it's going to make all the space in the workshop 100% usable. So this crane has 2 speeds on every motion, and the way that's done is with the wireless remote. The switches are a 2-step, so if you push them till their first click, it is a slow speed, and when you push it all the way in, it goes into high speed, which means the hoist has a 2-speed up and down. Also, when the hoist moves on the beam from left to right, and when the beam moves on the runway structure, front to back. And something else that is actually a safety feature, apart from the end stops, it does have a toggle switch which will slow the crane down to half speed when it comes to within 2 meters of the end of the runway. And then it has one more switch which completely turns off that drive, so you can't drive it off the end of the runway. It also has that feature on the main beam so you don't run the hoist into the runway. So I really like that the remote is wireless. It means I don't have a cable hanging from the roof that I have to drag around with the crane. But one of the problems with that is in this workshop, when you put something down, it does grow legs and it does run away. So I do have to remember where I put it. I am going to try and keep it in one area, so when I need it, I know where to find it. So with all that explained, we are going to do a test lift, and I have decided to test that Stanko lathe behind me. That was a machine that I had to take when I bought another machine. So we have cleaned it up and we do plan to move it on, but first I need to see how much it weighs. I think it's about 5 tonne. So that wasn't too far off what I thought it was going to be, and that load display is a feature I really like. I haven't been in a workshop that has one, but now finding out the weight of something instantly is definitely going to be a time saver when we go to book transport. So overall, I'm really happy with this upgrade for our workshop. It has been a long time in the making to have a crane put in here. I did have a local, very well-known crane company quote to put a 3.2 tonne crane in here, and it was nearly $40,000 more. So we're really happy with what this cost us, and the overall experience with Austwide Cranes was a very positive one. And something we will be doing is changing the layout of the workshop, because we're not restricted with our crane being stuck in one area. So that's this upgrade completed. Thanks for watching. So the guys from Odd. Curtis is odd. Help. And I was looking on an. Oh, fuck me. Fuck.
Just share it in your own words.
I'm trying.
Well, have a think about what you want to say.
Right. So it was a couple of months ago.
I'm like, have a think, and you're like, right.
Words. But other than that, we are ready to put in the main, what are we calling it? And what they're made from is a steel channel with a plastic installation.
Insulation.
Right. And what they're made from is a steel channel with a plastic installation. I did it again. And what they're made from is a steel channel Wait, what's the word? For that, they're going to be using a high-strength, non-strength. For that, they're going to be using a high-strength... Can you just stand over there for a second? It's like, when you're in front of me, I fuck it up. And if I get it right... Right, so he's also... Fuck.
Start again.
And what... What? Help?
Do you want to just try and reset that whole thing?
No. Where we're going after that? Right. Oh, fuck me.
This is a struggle.
I need a drink.
What have you done to your head? You got some dirt on your forehead.
Like, help.
Right there.
Simba.
What's he doing? Oh. Does he want to clean all them cobwebs while he's there?
You reckon it'd be a cat if I gave him a fucking thing to clean off the cobwebs?
A dustbin? A dust wand? Clean off the wall? While he's there?
Then say what you want. You said, can you put these on?
Are you fucking married?
I said, can you do the job? And you said yes. What would you like, mate? You have my building set. It's on the back of the ute. Why is it there? Mate, if we were married, we'd be divorced by now.
So we're very happy with what this cost us, and the overall experience with Austwide Cranes was really positive.
Yep, so give them a call, they might hook you up.
No, oh God. You've been wanting to say that line the whole time.